Welcome to the Brand Doctor Podcast, strategies that help entrepreneurs build reputable and profitable brands. Here's your host, Henry Kaminski Jr.
All right, what's going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday. It is another Brand Doctor Podcast episode for you, and we have an amazing guest today as well. We have one of my great friends from Instagram, Jonathan Rudolph from Logo Inspirations. What's going on, Jonathan?
Hey, how's it going? Pretty good.
Doing great, man. Doing great. So real quick for the audience, you run a very, very, very influential and powerful Instagram account called Logo Inspirations. And I've been following you now for a while. I remember when you had like 370,000 followers, and I thought that was like, oh my God, now you're up to like 570 something thousand followers.
Yeah, it's growing so fast, yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So I have a bunch of questions for you, so let's dive in. First and foremost, I like to ask all my guests, why did you start your brand in the first place?
Well, it was kind of like an accident. I didn't start it willingly. Like, I didn't think, okay, I'm going to start this Logo Inspirations brand and create the community. It started as an accident because I used to have, I think I told you before, I used to be a freelancer.
Okay.
And yeah, so my wife, she created an Instagram account for my previous business many years ago. And she was sharing like my logo work and design work on that account. And it started to pick up a lot of likes. And at this time, I wasn't getting much design work. So I thought, it's pretty interesting. Maybe I could experiment with this and maybe share other people's logos and see what happens. So I created Logo Inspirations. I still don't remember how I got the name. I still can't remember that.
Well, it's pretty on point because you're inspiring the hell out of me and my team.
With
I'll
logos,
tell you that right now.
And so I created the account and I started to walk the streets and take photos of logos and just upload them. And it was like a snowball effect. I got like 100 followers first day, and then it was like another 100, and then it hit 1,000 like in no time. And it just grew from there. So I was doing it for about a year as a hobby, and I think it was around, after about a year that I started to take it really seriously and launch a blog and try and monetize the brand. So, yeah.
You're a freelancer by trade?
Yes.
Okay,
I have a full-time job right now, a daytime job.
Okay.
And then I do Logo Inspirations on the side, so.
Oh my God!
I'm hoping to make it a full-time job this year.
Oh my God! So talk to me about that a little bit. I want to know sort of how you're monetizing it, because I mean you are quite the influencer. Right now with this account.
Well, people think it's a team. I got to tell them that it's just one guy. They keep saying, "Hey, Logo Inspirations team," but no, it's one guy. So the way I monetize it is through affiliate marketing.
Okay.
And I promote this logo design course, which is done by a company in Canada called Logo Co. So they contacted me. I think it was mid 2016, and at that point my business model was I was gonna take logos of companies and charge them a fee to share their logo, which was this is a completely shit model. And once I heard of affiliate marketing, I was like, okay, let's give this a shot. I never heard of this. So they were like, okay, you promote the course, and then once you make a sale, you get a commission. I'm like, okay, let's give it a shot. And in the first week, I made, I think, $250, which blew my mind. And that's when I started taking it more seriously and started thinking about building the brand and growing the community.
Let me ask you this, Jonathan. What, in your opinion, what do you think is the secret behind this particular Instagram account, this logo and inspirations brand. What's the secret behind that rapid growth, in your opinion?
I would say consistency.
Okay,
so constantly pump in good logos, yeah.
And so dig deeper a little bit.
And good logos.
So not bullshit logos, yeah, like the stuff that you see on Fiverr and some of the stuff I see on 99 Designs. I want to vomit. So so you go out and you scour pretty much the internet or your and you just pull. Interesting.
From the moment I get home after work, I'm just looking at logos. I'm look at Logo Lounge. I just go through books. I'm up pretty late looking at logos. So I curate that, and I try. I used to save it on Google Drive, but now I just save it through my phone. Just save it onto photos. And once Instagram introduced the albums, which made it much easier to save. So that makes it much easier. I just screenshot and then share the logo. So,
that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So consistency. Let's unpack that a little bit, because there's a bunch of different verticals you could go down when we talk about consistency. So the frequency, obviously, how many times you post a day. How many times? Can you share with the audience how many times you post?
I try to post one every hour from the time I get up until I go to bed.
Wow, talk about consistent. Jesus. All right, so you're like an anomaly, because I don't know anybody who posts once an hour, but I can see how clean your page is, and so you post.
I try to keep a standard, a high standard of logo design. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: as far as consistency goes, all right. So you're very frequent with your posting. How about the type of logo? You said I only post good logos. What's a good logo to you? What qualifies a good logo?
Something that's timeless. That could be good today and then be good maybe in 50 years. Like the FedEx logo is a good example. I don't think they've changed since they launched their logo.
That's powerful. That's powerful. So guys that are listening, pay attention to that, because that is so important when it comes to designing a logo. You don't want to design a logo that you're going to have to redesign in a couple of months or a couple of years.
Nah.
You want something that is going to outlive you. And I it's funny, because that's a great logo to me as well. So we share a common value there. So when you're thinking of timeless logos, what's some of the, and I know I'm drilling you with questions this morning, but what is some of the discovery that we need to know from someone who's trying to get their logo done that is going to help us create, a timeless logo for them? Because a lot of times, back in the earlier days, before I know what I know now, I would not do the proper discovery with my clients, and then we would go into this back and forth sort of rat race on logo creation. And now I realize one of our fellow friends, Chris Doe, who's mentoring me right now, basically is a big fan of doing a lot of discovery up front and sort of scaffolding your way up to a successful design project. So what's some of the things that we need to know from our clients that are going to help us build great logos for them?
Well, I guess you need to know, understand their brand. That's because the logo isn't the brand, it's just the face of the brand. So you need to understand the personality, and then you create what I call the face. So that is the logo. You need to dig deep and understand the brand.
So the personality, the values, the vision, the purpose,
exactly,
the attributes of the brand. The brand itself. See, when I'm working with clients, I treat their brands like a person. It's a living organism. If you don't feed it the right nutrients, it's not going to grow strong. So when you're thinking of your brand, you're probably asking yourself, how do I want my brand to be perceived by its audience? And so that's going to help you start to understand, all right, what does this brand stand for? Is it a premium brand? Is it a brand that's going to be mass marketed? So these are the things that you as a entrepreneur that is listening to the show should be paying attention to, because Jonathan is making a great point here. Without understanding the brand's purpose.
That's another great saying. A brand is what people talk about when you're not around.
That's right. It's what are they talking? Yeah. What are they saying about you when you're not in the room? And I talk about that a lot, And so that's awesome. So let me dive into this question here, because I think it's very, very important that we go into this. And I love talking to fellow creatives about this. So, excuse me. What do you think the biggest pet peeve you have right now when it comes to, let's talk about logo designs in general?
Is it just logo design or
I'm gonna peel this out. I'm gonna peel this out in a couple of different layers, but let's go with logo design.
Well, one of my pet peeves, I would say one would be young designers who are not willing to learn, but think they already have it all figured out.
The know-it-all.
I guess I was, the know-it-all. I guess I was part of that problem when I was a teenager, but then I started to go to Behance, Dribble, and look at good design. So I started to discover every day, go through it, and then I realized, my designs aren't as great as I thought it was. So then I started to learn and design, and then you grow out of that. So you need to put yourself out there, just explore other logo design and compare yourself, and so you know where you stand.
That's awesome.
That's one of my pet peeves. Yeah.
I love it. And same goes for me. I mean, when I was starting out, I was almost intimidated by other designers because they were better than me. And I would get nervous, like, oh my God, they're going to steal business. They're going to be, and it's such a stupid mindset to have. And then I befriended a local designer who was probably like 15 chapters ahead of me in skill set.
Yeah.
And he really took me under his wing. I mean, I didn't ask him for much. And he would always, every time I would come in and visit the office, he would always pull me over to his cubicle and be like, hey, go check out how to do this lens flare. Look, I'm going to show you how to do it real quick.
Lens flares.
Yeah, I know. This
lens flares in Photoshop.
I'm dating myself. But he kind of was my inspiration and my coach in a way, where he would say, all right, I saw you do this the other day, and don't take this the wrong way. But so being open to that and really
be open-minded.
Yeah. And humbling yourself. Like, listen, I may not be the better designer in here. When I created my team here at Unique Designz, I went out and I made sure I hired people that were better than me. Yeah. I'm not afraid, and that's some of the things that's
how we grow, I guess.
That's the only way we grow, right? So my question, so now let's take that same question. What's the biggest peeve when it comes to logo design? And let's point it towards the entrepreneur. Let's point it towards the personal brand that is trying to establish themselves. And you see them making the same common mistake over and over again. I'm sure you have personal friends that are doing this, because I do, and I always got to straighten them out when I see this. But what would you say the answer to that question would be?
As an entrepreneur,
like they're developing their brand, and they're making the same mistake over and over and over again when it comes to logo design.
Oh, when it comes to logo design, that's a tough one. Well, I guess since they wouldn't have the expertise, they would have to hire somebody that knows it. But I've come across a few who think they know it, so that's a huge mistake. You have to hire somebody who has the expertise.
Yeah, they automatically become the art director. They've overnight become a logo expert.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you should be charging them more.
Right? I happen to agree with you. When Chris and I spoke last week, we were talking about how to qualify clients, and one of the things we talked about was he sort of unpacked this for me. I already knew it, but he said it in such an articulate way. He was like, you're like me. You don't work really well with people that are super hands-on and that want to become that art director. And I said, no, I just don't. And so, I mean, like you said, they're hiring you for a reason, so it's almost like you got to take the best.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I had an boss who I worked for. It was he runs a publishing house, and he used to micromanage every single design department. So that wasn't a reason for hiring those people, because he was trying to do everything. So
and it really kills us as creatives. It really kills the freedom.
Yeah.
It kills our ability to get creative. And I just pass those clients along, to colleagues. I because I know I'm not going to be a service to them. So getting back into building Instagram and understanding what goes into building a reputable and really influential account like yours. I want to sort of talk about that a little bit. I'm actually going to have Steven Snyder on the show in a couple of days. He's an Instagram influencer who's built many entrepreneurial Instagram accounts to, over 1 million followers with really, really high engagement. So I sort of want to get your perspective, since you have one of those accounts yourself. What are some of the things that goes into creating an influential Instagram account?
Well, I guess you have to resonate with the community, and the way I do that is through logo design, and I inspire them. So I've also looked into creating video, which is going crazy at the moment. So like quick tutorials. So you got to have something that helps the community as well. So I'm helping them through inspiration and learning. So that's two things.
I love it. I love it. I think inspiring your audience will go further than sound. And let me rephrase this. Inspiring your audience is going to go further than ranting to your audience. Yeah. I think it's always good to get a good rant out and get that out of your system. But one of my coaches said, when you inspire your audience, you bring them closer to you, and you you said, resonate with them on a deeper level.
Yeah, and I've made so many connections through Instagram as well, like Chris Do and yourself. I've even connected with Eddie Bravo. I don't know if worked on a project with him. Wow. So
that's
a lot of
awesome.
Connections through Instagram.
Yeah, that's awesome. And listen, you've done a really, really good job. So I just want to dissect this a little bit deeper and pull this out for my audience in case they sort of glazed over it. You said that you inspire your audience and you genuinely help them and you resonate with them. You put something out there, which ultimately tells me this. You know who you are serving very, very clearly. Yes. I think I see one of the biggest.
You need to understand the audience.
Boom. And I think one of the biggest pet peeves I have when I'm coaching clients and when I'm trying to help people build their influence on different platforms and grow their brand, they're not real clear on who it is that they want to serve. So when you put out content, it's sort of thin and light and vanilla. It doesn't really make an impact. You're not really helping them. You're not really inspiring them. So knowing who that is you're serving and who your audience really is, and then giving them what they want. I mean, asking them, showing them, connecting, like you said. Yeah. So you do a lot of affiliate marketing now through the account, which I think is super, super powerful. I'm looking to do a lot more collaboration this year and got a few things lined up already. And I think for those people that are starting out listening to the show, if you don't have the audience that you wish you had, it's about time that you start connecting with people like Jonathan Rudolph, connecting with other people in your niche that have those larger audience, and tapping into that and saying, how could I help you? And in return, maybe you can help me. And I think that's so profound. I think it's so perfect for you too. This is a side gig for you, and it's blowing up. So it's very, very important to know your role and to know your audience. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. So Long story short, what's going on for 2018? Like, what's on the horizon for Jonathan and Logo Inspiration?
This is going to be a big year. So yeah, I'm hoping to quit my job and go at this full time. That's the goal. Looking at creating some of my own products like ebooks, online courses, merchandise, because I have the community, so I need to work on that and try and hit that 1 million mark.
Oh,
eventually.
wow. Dude, you're so close. Honest to God, to go from 570,000 or so to where you're at right now to 1 million, it's probably going to be easier for you to do it than to work from 0 to 570,000. I mean, I'm a true believer in that.
Yeah, let's hope I hit that. But I also want to focus on like creating the blog, which is, I want to say, like, it's my own thing, because Instagram is another platform. So like for anybody who has a massive audience on Instagram, I would suggest that you like grow your email list, because you own that, and grow your blog if you have one, because those are the assets that are going to belong to you.
It's so powerful.
So that's the goal. Yeah.
That's real estate you own.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
Instagram, like, if they didn't agree with me, they could disconnect my account tomorrow, and then I got to start from scratch. So, yeah.
That is so powerful. So, are you doing that now?
Yeah, I'm working on building the email list and the blog. So,
and how are you doing that?
Let's see how that goes. So I'm going to do some free ebooks that I'm working on, lead magnets. Plus, I also get leads through logo challenges that I do every month. So I collaborate with a logo designer to promote them. That's why I started to promote logo designers. So I pick a good logo designer every month, and we do a unique logo challenge. So that creates leads for the email list as well.
Woo.
And people are starting to like that. Yeah,
that is
starting to love the logo challenge. Yeah.
Listen, I got to talk about this for a second, because that's so powerful. You've tapped into something that a lot of people aren't doing. You're bringing your own.
Chris Doe actually started it, and I had to give him credit for that.
All right, good.
He made it very credible. Yeah.
Yep. You're bringing your audience in, like you're engaged, and that's where the money is, guys. That's where the true relationship building is. It's in that engagement. Jonathan and Chris, they're bringing their audience in to what it is that they're doing, their mission, their purpose. And when people feel part of something, they're not just being talked at. Listen, we've all been to school, right? And we hated those teachers that just barked at us for an hour, right? Never asked us a question, just lectured in this monotone voice. And a lot of people out there right now have these Instagram accounts and brands that are just, they sound like the guy for dry red eyes, use that, and like, that's your brand. You know what I mean? That's your brand. But I love that idea of logo challenges where you're bringing in a specific logo designer. So he's getting a huge, or he or she, I should say, is getting a huge, sort of promotion, right? It's almost like your agent. You're like their agent.
Yeah. And so with the challenge, we try to stick. So say if the logo designer is good on negative space logos, so we make the challenge like we align it with negative space logos, so it works with that logo designer, and then he would give away like a cool gift that he would create, like a T-shirt or a poster. So then the winner gets that gift, and they feel pretty privileged.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, I mean, listen, if I were to be featured on something like your platform, I'd be like, whoa! It'd be like the highlight of my life. So listen,
it's good.
Because we do this, excuse me, I've been doing a lot of these podcast episodes live on Facebook simultaneously, because I want to try to reach out to as many people as I possibly can and kill a lot of birds with one stone. And so we have a listener or a viewer that typed in, the most enduring logos seem to be so super simple. And this particular listener would like to hear from Jonathan, like your thoughts on that.
Oh, simplicity. Yeah, that's a funny thing, because like I would say the Burton logo. It looks so simple, but then when you got to create the geometric shapes, there is a lot of thought that went into it, even if it looks so simple. Mm-hmm. There's a huge process behind it, but we don't see that. We just see the simplicity.
Yeah. And that's tough for entrepreneurs and personal brands and small business owners, whatever. It's hard for them to swallow because I've been in situations personally where they were like, dude, that's all you did was type it out in a font and you curve the bottom of the B, and I'm like,
yeah. But hey, it took me like 10 years to get that experience, like the Picasso thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, how do you explain that? How do you explain that in a way that's artistic and creative and has so much meaning behind it? And so I think that's where a lot of people, if I have a lot of designers following me now. And so I'm pointing this statement at you guys. You need to be a great designer, but you also need to be a great storyteller. You need to be a great communicator in the same way where, when clients come to you and say, well, dude, you just typed it out and you manipulated the B, like how long did that take you? You gotta be clear with how you articulate that. And then for the entrepreneur personal brands that are listening to this show, I want you to understand that it's not just manipulating a B. It's not just typing out a font. We do tremendous industry research. Well, at least the good designers do. We do a great deal of discovery inside the industry, inside your brand, at least they should be, in order to create the designs that we create that are going to leave a timeless impact on your audience. So it's very, very important that you guys understand it's not just typing a font out, in a cool typeset.
Even like the Instagram logo was met with a lot of disdain, but it's timeless when you look at it now compared to the old one.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a grid system used. I think there was, if you dig deeper.
Yeah. And so it's super important to understand that. And so I just want to make sure we're getting a lot of comments on Facebook right now. And I just wanted to make sure I didn't lose anything. Jason Taylor wrote, love hearing stories of someone's passion and monetizing it. I think that's what we all inspire to.
That's what we all want to do.
Yeah. I mean, I watched a documentary on Saturday about John Paul DeGeorgia, the guy who owns Paul Mitchell and Patron Tequila. Oh my God. I was in tears. I was in tears by the end of the documentary because I mean, the guy was homeless twice. His wife left him with a 2-year-old son to take care of. I mean, he sold encyclopedias door to door. And now the guy's worth $3 billion and donates to 100. Yeah, B with a B, and it's just so inspiring to see somebody go through those trials and tribulations. Tony Robbins is another big inspiration in my life. Like that guy didn't have it easy either growing up. And so, to hear you on the cusp of breaking out of your 9-to-5 and taking the leap, we have a couple of minutes left. I want you to kind of share with, if you don't mind, kind of share with us. Yeah. To kind of share with us, like, it's a big jump. I remember when I took it 10 years ago, I was nervous. I was scared. Like, what's going on?
I'm so nervous right now.
Yeah. And so what's going to happen when you take the dive?
Oh, wow. So I guess I have a few goals that I want to achieve, like a monthly income that I'd be comfortable to quit. And I know that I have to hire a few virtual assistants, like to scour logos while I work on videos. I'm still kind of figuring it out little by little.
And I think you're gonna be fine. I think if me being in your situation 10 years ago, I remember it very vividly. It feels like it was yesterday that I started this business, and I feel more.
So you just quit cold turkey, or?
Well, I saw it coming, and just like you, I had built up a small book of business. I booked up a small book of business before I left. I remember going to visit my uncle, who I talk about a lot in my content. Yeah. And I said, Uncle Joe, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And he says, well, listen, you're a bright kid. I think you're going to be fine, but you won't know unless you try. And
Exactly. Yeah.
and I remember him saying, because I went to him and I said, listen, maybe I could work for you on the side a little bit. And like, he was not hearing that, because it was like, I know where your heart's set at, and it's not construction. And he was like, well, let me talk to my daughter and this other guy who's like the VP. He's like, I'll get back to you. Never got back to me. And that was what I needed. That was the kick in the ass I needed to really just go. And I remember just putting my head down. I remember quitting. And I remember quitting, and I remember walking into my apartment and going, I'm never going back there. This is weird. This feels so uncomfortable. Like I feel like the floor is going to come out from underneath me it could in any day, right?
Yep.
And then I just went to work. And that's something that I want you to understand, like, and for you to be confident in. I can tell already, and we know each other, in passing. We don't know each other that well, but from what I gather and the vibe and the energy that I'm getting from you, I can feel and sense that you're that whatever it takes type of person.
Yeah.
And you're going to find a way when you're back up.
Well, I work weekends, as much as I can on the logo inspirations. And
So what I would do is not focus on, oh my God, what if this happens? I would focus on what's my next goal? What do I need to accomplish? Because Jonathan, when I tell you, when there's no turning back, they say burn the bridges if you want to take the island, right? Burn the boats, or I forget. Like, that's what I did. I burned all the boats, and I said, we're going to make this happen. And my first year, I did $248,000 in revenue.
Wow.
One person. I didn't have VAs. I didn't even know what a VA was. I didn't have a team. I didn't have a salesperson. I went out there and literally hustled my ass off. And then when I picked my head back up, I went to my accountant. They were like, yeah, you did 248K. I was like, huh?
Hey, what?
And I think that gave me the chops. That gave me the chops to say, I can do this. So focus on what you have. Focus on your strengths. Focus on what you're doing, what's working. And eventually you're going to have
I guess it's all about mindset.
That's it.
The only thing that's stopping you is the way you're thinking.
That's it. And so, and listen, don't get me wrong. There's days where I wake up and I get into these funks, and I quickly get out of them. I used to fall into these funks for like weeks and weeks, right? And it's not a good place to operate a business. And so I immediately know now how to get out of those funks. It's watching Evan Carmichael on YouTube every morning. It's watching, he was on the show a couple weeks ago. It's listening to Tony Robbins, reaching out to my mentor in the branding world and saying, hey, this is what's going on. And then, getting that, listen, you're an open, like you have a lot of resources.
Entrepreneur on Fire. I think were you on the podcast? Yeah, that's why I heard you.
Yeah.
And then I added you on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's how you connect. That's how you make it happen. And so what you put in, I talked about this yesterday in an email. What you put in is what you get out. So what you put in, what you put into your brand, what you put into your logo design, what you put into your thought process and your mindset is what you're going to get out. So keep saying that you're going to need this job to live. Keep saying that it's going to be too much of a leap to go full time with this, and that's what you'll get.
What's going to happen? Yeah.
Then it's focus on what you want and you will receive. I always tell this story, and it sounds so stupid, but I always was into big, like nice cars. Like I grew up, my father has the same pickup truck from 1974.
I heard that on the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I said to myself, I was so embarrassed by this freaking thing. But now when I go to visit him and it's parked in the front, I'm like, it so grounds me. But I said to myself, when I make it, I am going to have nice cars. And so every car that I've owned a lot, I always envisioned it. I always saw myself driving it. off the lot. I saw myself
I've
driving.
started working on some vision boards as well.
Dude.
A lot of entrepreneurs do that, yeah.
Dude. And they're all sitting in my garage.
I got them there.
Yeah. You know, and I'm like, it sounds so silly, but when you can see it, you know, you can,
when you keep visualizing, and
it starts. Yeah, it just becomes, and that's my advice to you, my friend, is to just put your head down. I think you're doing all the right things. I mean, you are on your way. You are on your way, my friend. It's just a matter of you saying, it's time.
Yep.
And nobody's going to be able to do that, and nobody's going to do it for you. You just got to do it on your own.
Yep.
Yeah. So, dude, you got a Batman shirt on for a reason.
You're a DC fan.
Yeah. So, dude, I just want to thank you so much. So a couple of things before we go. I always ask this question to guests. What do you think we should name this episode?
For me, I don't know. Put
What do you
the
think?
spot there.
Yeah.
Instagram domination. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna play off the Instagram thing, but I'm also gonna play off of some of the things that you talked about that were very, very important when it comes to logo design, which is simplicity, timelessness.
Yep.
So, you know, I got to play around with it, but I think it's going to be a mix of what you just mentioned. And then last but not least, for those, do you have a website? Do you have anywhere that you want people to go and visit you?
Yeah, so the Instagram account is at Logo Inspirations. The blog is logoinspirations.co, and you can find tutorials on YouTube, youtube.com/logoinspirations. They've got a few tutorials on there, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Jonathan, dude, thank you so much for coming on the show. You're in Australia, so it's like 12:30 in the morning out there. So I thank you so much for connecting with me on Instagram and just sharing your inspirations with us. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck. I think you're going to do amazing in 2018, and I can't wait to get that message from you that said I did it.
I quit. I quit the job.
So there you have it, my friends. Another podcast episode in the books. I hope you got some value out of this one, guys. If you haven't joined the Brand Doctors Hangout Facebook group yet on Facebook, go over there right now and check that out. If you haven't subscribed to this podcast on iTunes, I advise that you do that. And I'm truly thankful for you guys that are all supporting this show. And if you haven't shared this with a friend or a colleague yet, I thank you in advance for that as well. I'm out. I'll catch you on another episode, guys. Have an amazing day and keep rocking.
Cheers.
Talk to you soon, guys. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Brand Doctor Podcast with Henry Kaminski Jr. To get your appointment with the doctor, visit Brand Audit at www.uniquedesignz.net.